Well, it's a great day. Good morning, good morning. Life is a joy. So, once again, I find myself having to apologize. I seem to do that a lot. But today I had something exciting come in, something that I had ordered and been waiting on, so that has me pumped up about getting on with the bus. I'm excited to say that my Tiger foam came in. I have 8 bottles here, 4 sets, and it should do about close to 3,000 feet, so I think we're going to be in good shape. Well, I'm excited to get started. I received my foam today, and the holdup on putting that foam in is I'm waiting on my camera. I want to hardwire my backup camera. So to string that in from front to back, it's you know, about 40 feet by the time I go over, maybe 45 feet. So I've got to have the wire, and they come with special 4-pin connectors on the end, and I believe I want to put 4 cameras on. So that's what I'm going for, is to buy 4 cameras. I'm going to put one on the passenger side. I'm going to put one back here in the back, and then closer to the front I'm going to put a second one on the passenger side, because you know this is the blind side here. So I'm shooting at putting a second one right in this area here, so I won't have any blind spot on this side. I don't want to run over some little Volkswagen or something. I want to keep everybody else safe on the road too. So until that camera comes in with my wire, I won't be able to shoot this. I may go ahead and start tomorrow working on shooting one side of it, but one side I have to keep open. Okay, we've had some people asking for the backstory of our bus and what we're doing, so I'm just going to go back a little bit, tell a few things that I've done. Started building cabinets when I was 18 years old, and I got married when I was 18 to the love of my life. And when I was 21, I went to work for the fire department, and I started building houses. I built my first house by myself when I was 21 years old. And no problems, did everything without any help except for the plumbing, electric, and air conditioning, which was required that a licensed technician do those particular things. But here's one of my endeavors. Even though I've always usually had a job or had a business that was full-time, I almost always had a second job. This is Lucky Bunny Rabbitry. Ain't it great? 3 buildings, 40 by 75. Here's another picture right here of the buildings. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the Lucky Bunny Rabbitry, but let's see if we can. No, I don't think the sign's in there. Can you see? Not sure. Okay, anyway, that's what this was, Lucky Bunny Rabbitry. We had, believe it or not, about 6,000 rabbits. Here's one of my beautiful does. I had 600 does, 27 bucks, and at any given time, enough fryers to make the rest of that 6,000. Here's a doe that's, she's a pretty hefty girl, and she's getting ready to have some babies. And then here's a picture of a nesting box. Built lots of nesting boxes. In fact, I built about 600 plus nesting boxes. Ain't it great? Then, after 21 days from the day that they're bred, they will have a litter, and that's what they look like. And so then about 6 weeks is when we sell the babies, but here's the babies just about a week later or so. You can see that they're got a little fuzz on them. And then here's a picture with my doughs in the building where my doughs were. You can see we had all hanging cages with sidewalks in between, and you can see that sidewalk is very soiled. The rabbits just love to turn around and pee on you when you're passing. Just seems to be a favorite thing for them. Here's some of my fryers. Now this is about the age that they're ready to sell, about this size. And at that time they were selling for 78 cents a pound. And I could go to Petty's Fine Foods. Whoops, I think that's maybe kind of the same picture. Oh, it's got one of my guys working back there. But at Petty's Fine Foods, Hassenpfeffer was over $7 at that time. And yet I was selling my fryers for 78 cents a pound at Pelfrey's in Arkansas. Ain't it great? Here's a picture of babies. They love to climb up on top of their mama, so that's what that picture is. It's several babies that are a couple weeks old up on top of their mama. Here's some more fryers. This again is the best age for eating. And then here's a picture of just fryers that are in a different building, have been separated from their mama, and they're just growing out. So that was one of my endeavors. Now, I can tell you that if you name it, I have probably tried it. I've always felt like that the Lord wanted to bless us, and if we sowed proper seed, that we would be blessed. And I believe that. So, I've always had a business of some kind going on. I've had some weird ones, I have to tell you. But we'll talk about some of those other businesses sometime. But that's one of my many businesses. One I did have that I didn't, and I will tell you about this one, but I didn't think this out properly. I lived in Oklahoma where there were lots and lots of topsoil. I mean, we're talking Oklahoma has wonderful topsoil. So we moved to Texas to do some building, and had some friends down there. I decided to start a worm business. It's called Texas Wiggle Worm. Ain't it great? And I was sure that it was going to do really, really well. So I spent about $10,000 getting everything together, getting all the equipment, buying the worms, getting the building ready, got everything cooking, and discovered, because what you sell with the worms primarily is the droppings, or what's called castings. Worm castings. They're great for the garden. They're the best fertilizer, and they really are. They're good. Well, when I decided to start buying topsoil to use for the castings, or whatever other medium I could use, I discovered that Texas doesn't have any topsoil. I was shocked. I called and I finally talked to the so-called expert, a college professor, and he was supposed to be the expert on Texas topsoil, Texas, and he just laughed. He said, "You're not going to find any topsoil in Texas, just tiny little pockets along the rivers and stuff." He said, "You're going to have to go to Louisiana or Oklahoma." Well, by the time I put pen and pencil on paper, I decided that my wiggle worm business in Texas was not gonna fly. Ain't it great? So you may have started a few things. You know, when I discovered there has to be a stop-loss process, when I discovered that I wasn't going to make any money from the worms, at least it was going to be very difficult, boy, I just gave away lots of worms, gave away my buckets, got rid of everything. I just had to stop. There wasn't really a way to make money with it in Texas on the level that I wanted to make. My goal was to make about $20,000 a month from it. Didn't pan out. So guess what? Stopped, did something else. You probably experienced that a few times in your life. I don't think it's a bad thing. Sometimes people just quit. They throw up their hands and say, "I'm never gonna try again," because it is disappointing. When you've set your heart on it, you're sure you can do it, you've done all the research, you've learned everything you can possibly learn without just hands-on experience. You buy, you invest, you get everything ready, and then when it fails, the tendency is just to say, it ain't worth it. I'm going back to a job. I'm just going to do what everybody else does. 9 to 5. Stay alive till I'm whatever, die. And that's it for me. But I want to encourage you. If you tried business, it didn't work. If you've tried a particular project and it didn't work, don't give up. If you come to a point where it's just costing you more and it's not worth it anymore, then just consider it a stop loss. Stop what you're doing. Sell everything that you can get any of your money back on and start thinking about going a different direction. I think being in business is a great thing. It gives you a lot of freedom, but in the beginning, you're going to work twice as hard as anybody else. But in the end, you get more than twice the reward of everybody else. So I just encourage you, don't give up. Just keep at it. Keep on, keep it on. So I know the question is going to come up, why aren't you raising rabbits? Well, the truth is, we got to full production, which should have made us a profit of about $20,000 a month, maybe $25,000 a month. Guess what happened? China shipped in 10 million dressed rabbits, frozen, shipped them in to the East Coast. Now that's where the biggest market is, on the East Coast. So I was all primed and excited for production. We were just fulfilling our first orders to Pelfrey's because they're one of the biggest suppliers. And guess what? Pelfrey's called me, said, we want you to stay in business. You're our biggest and best supplier. We want you to stay in business, but we can't buy rabbits from you anymore. All we'll be able to buy from you is probably about enough to pay your feed bill. Well, my feed bill at that time was $600 a month. And I said, now, wait a minute. You want me to stay in business? Yes, please stay in business. I said, okay. And how long do you think it's going to take for these 10 million dressed rabbits to dissipate in the marketplace? And they said, oh, probably about 3 years. So I said, let me get this straight now. You want me to work for nothing, just keep my rabbits going, but work for no profit for the next 3 years before I can sell any more rabbits to you? And they said, well, yeah, I guess so. I said, no, that's not going to happen. So I had to stop loss, cut my losses, change directions, and most people are going to have to do that several times in their lives. So don't worry, life is still a joy. Life is still exciting. Don't be discouraged. If it failed, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that particular business at that particular time didn't work for you. So my encouragement is try and try again. Don't stop trying. I believe in being an entrepreneur. I believe in being in business for yourself. Just be encouraged if you've tried and it didn't work. Try it again. Change a few things and try again. You can do it.